What happens when you put a laser and a sonic together? Me neither. Let's find out. Nope, 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 nope. It's causing my head to ache. Nope. I'll just use the sonic. What's up, Whovians? Friends of Ood-Kind here, and I am finishing my countdown of the top 10 David Tennant Doctor Who episodes. And here we go. Okay, let's remind ourselves of 10 to 2. Number 10, I got Blink. Number 9, The Next Doctor. Number 8, The Waters of Mars. Number 7, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. Number 6, Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel. Number 5, School Reunion. Number 4, The Stolen Earth and Journey's End. Number 3, Utopia, The Sound of Drums and the Last of the Time Lords. And number 2, The End of Time. So, what's my favorite? As you probably already figured out, it is an Ood story, because that's the name of the channel, Friends of Ood-Kind. But it is not the planet of the Ood. It is in fact the first appearance of the Ood in The Impossible Planet and Satan Pit. And I'm going to be talking to you about why I love it so much and why it is so much better than the rest. Okay, so it starts off with the TARDIS landing on a base somewhere. And again, if you know me, if you've watched a few of my videos so far, my favorite kind of Doctor Who story is a base under siege, and this is pretty much what this one is. And I like the way that the TARDIS starts with the TARDIS kind of sound like it's got indigestion. And then they find out that they're in a sanctuary base, and the words on the wall, "Welcome to Hell," and then the writing that the TARDIS cannot translate, which obviously the TARDIS can translate anything writing as well, and if it can't translate it, then you know they're in trouble. And then we meet the Ood. We must feed. We must feed. We must feed. You, if you are hungry. First of all, when I first saw this, it scared the living heck out of me. I'm like, who are these creatures with this spaghetti whatever coming out their nose or mouth? Where is their mouth? What is going on? And then the head of maintenance, Mr. Jefferson, finds them and kind of thinks, what are they doing here? Because they've been there for a while and they know where they are, but obviously the Doctor and Rose don't know, and they try to explain that, you know, humans, people, how can you be here? And then, you know, Rose is like, well, there's some sort of space base, you know, you gotta have visitors every now and then. And I love how David responds to the question, you must know where you are, and he says, no idea, more fun that way. And then on their way to the center of the base, the hub, I guess it would be called, the quake starts and the TARDIS gets sucked into the planet. Well, they don't know about this yet, but it does. I especially love Zach in this. The same actor, I can't remember what his name was. I have to look it up. I didn't look it up, but let's just pretend I did. His name is Zach. He was actually in Casanova with David Tennant. Yeah, he's a really cool character in this. Obviously acting captain, because the proper captain died on their way there to where they are. And then there's Ida Scott. I really Ida Scott was a character I really did invest in. And what's her name? Scooty Medista, I think. I can't remember, and I'm not going to Google it because I'm doing this video. Let me know in the comments below what her name is if I'm right. And then there's Danny. Danny's pretty cool. And Toby. Toby. But much like the Waters on Mars, you kind of start to know these characters, and then one by one they're taken away, which is cool. And they are in what geostationary orbit around a black hole, which is that's Doctor Who at its best. Beyond the laws of physics. I love how they use a power source thing in the first part of this story. I mean, basically, just like any other kind of two-part episode in Russell T Davies's era. I know he didn't write this one, but it just kind of builds up and builds up to the second part. You know, the first part is always kind of putting the characters in the right place, in the right places. Another perfect example of that is the Stolen Earth and Journey's End. The Stolen Earth was the same kind of plot, putting characters in the right places. But we're not talking about that episode. We're talking about the Impossible Planet. I love how it's named Crop Tor. Then the Ood turn on everybody and kill it and try to kill everybody. It's really, I'm like, who are these people? Who are this Ood? The Ood. That's Ood. It's very Ood. And then the cliffhanger at the end of the Impossible Planet is absolutely brilliant. I love that when they finally get down to the power source and use the gravity globe to see what's going on. They've lost the pictures. The tension just kind of builds up and builds up and builds up throughout the episode, and it gets you really kind of what's going on. But then the cliffhanger, which is, I like cliffhangers in Doctor Who. I think they're the best, especially kind of following the thing of the classic era with cliffhangers at the end of every part of every story. The Beast, the cliffhanger, is brilliant at the end of the Impossible Planet. When he says, you know, the pit is open and I am free. You're like, what in the hell are they going to get out of this? He's lost the TARDIS. The only thing he's really got is a screwdriver. What good is that against this beast that he pronounces himself as? I also like how the beast is teased throughout the first part of the story. And then we move on to the Satan Pit, which is obviously part 2 of the story. I don't really have a preference to which part I like. I like the way it's done with that. And then the Doctor abseils, well, jumps or falls down to the bottom of this pit. What I like about this episode as well is that it tackles religion, but it doesn't give a definitive answer as to who's right and who's wrong. The CGI of the Beast, that is absolutely brilliant. One of the best CGIs that modern Doctor Who has had. It is, you can just see the gravity of it. He's so big. And then, you know, the story of, you know, man against beast right before we see him. I like the Doctor's line when he says, you know, I accept that you exist. I don't have to accept who you are, but your physical presence, I'll give you that. That's just a brilliant line for anybody that's kind of curious about religion or anything. It's kind of cool. And then his speech, and you know, I believe in her, which is okay. Rose, I like Rose, and it was a really good speech for Rose. And the way that the Beast takes over people's thoughts and minds, and obviously he took over the Ood, which is pretty cool. I like how they put that, you know, gods and devils are a thought, and thoughts are hard to kill. And then at the end of the scenes, after, you know, Rose blows a hole in the windscreen of the ship, of the rocket that they're in, the whole go to hell thing was pretty cool. Uh, and Toby obviously is possessed with the mind of the beast and gets drunk into the black hole. But the scene where David falls back and, oh, there's a TARDIS, is like a huge relief, because all that tension is just built up throughout the episode. And then he goes back and saves Ida, which is pretty cool. But he couldn't save the Ood. And then he saves the rocket as well from going into the black hole. And he does an exchange for Ida and Rose, which is, you know, he gets Rose back and they get Ida back. I also like the reference to Torchwood in this, by Zach, when he's trying to figure out who this is, back before the end, and he's trying to figure out who this is, and he says this is Zachary Crossflame, representing the Torchwood archives. It's cool how they intertwined that with the whole Series 2 story arc, which is awesome. But what does before time mean? But yeah, at the end, I enjoyed the end of that story. You know, when the Beast says, well, this is before, but it comes up again at the end, when the Beast says, the valiant child who will die in battles very, very soon. That also fit in with the story arc and how Series 2 ended up with, you know, obviously Rose going to the parallel world. And also I like how David never really gave an answer of what he'd seen down there, either to Ida or to Rose. The only thing he says is, when he's asked, you know, what do you think it was? And he says, I think we beat it. And then the last part of it, he says, you know, who are you? He says, the stuff of legend. But yeah, this is my favourite David Tennant episode of Doctor Who, simply because it's great, and it's a base under siege by a force that they can't see, really, or a force that is trapped. Yeah, this is one that I definitely watch over and over again. Anyway, that was my complete top 10 of David Tennant Doctor Who stories episodes. What was yours? I'd love you to comment below and let me know. And if you like this video, subscribe. And I'll see you again. Thank you for watching.